Welcome to Hi-Fi and Stage Dives, a SoCan licensed podcast coming to you weekly from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Each week, I talk about a song that's been stuck in your head at one point or another, or stuff you've never heard before. Welcome to this musical journey. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hi-Fi and Stage Dives. So, we are going to do a band that is a little bit newer to me, but not really. Like, I've always knew about them. I just never really listened to them, I guess. Anyways, it's Mastodon. Great fucking band. Musically, they're fucking phenomenal. Like, these guys are on another level of fucking music. It's great. I seem to be drawn to bands that are very technically skilled for obvious reasons. I'm a musician, so I'm naturally drawn to that. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of bands where I like simple stuff. That old saying, keep it stupid simple, it rings through a lot of the times. So I'd say their latest release, their newest release, and the three before that, I really got into Mastodon. I don't know. Another late bloomer to it, I guess. And not even that I'm a late bloomer to it. Like, I heard of them. I just never had the opportunity to actually listen to them the way I can listen to them now, right? Thank you, Spotify. So let's get into it, and we'll chat a little bit or a lot of bit. You know how I am. I fucking start talking about something, and who knows where we'll end up being. But hey, that's the whole point of it. Mastodon is an American heavy metal band from Atlanta, Georgia, formed in 2000. The group is composed of Troy Sanders, bass and vocals, Brett Hines, guitar and vocals, Bill Killer, guitar, and Bran Daler on drums and vocals. Their musical styles feature progressive concept and unique instrumentations. I got a whole breakdown later on, a huge quote towards the end, of what they're really, what they feel they're like. So we'll get into that obviously later on. But and the videos, I'll get into the video thing later. When they did their latest release, they did this cool, I think it was a 12-part video thing. It's fucking great, but I'll get into it anyways. So their website, mastodonrocks.com. Go check it out. They released a total of 7 studio albums as well as a number of other releases. The other releases would be like singles and the video game releases, which is really cool because they were in that whole era of video games, and it just worked out. So Mastodon was formed January 13th, 2000, after drummer Bran Daler and guitarist Bill Killer moved to Atlanta from Victor, New York, and met bassist / singer Troy Sanders and guitar player / singer Brett Hines. Brett Hines is the guy with the tattoo on the face, if you don't know who Mastodon is. They were also in an episode of Game of Thrones. So we'll get into that after. They met at a High on Fire show, and they discovered that they had mutual aspirations of sludge metal band Melvins and Neurosis, and the 70s hard rock Thin Lizzy. Shortly thereafter, they formed Mastodon. Thin Lizzy, that's another really good band from the 70s. They got some really cool like grooves and shit. I like Thin Lizzy too. In an interview in 2000, Keller revealed that the first time Hines attended practice, the guitar player, he had a tattoo on his face with the band. He showed up so wasted he couldn't play. That's not uncommon though. Like I've dealt with that. It's not a fun thing to deal with, but sometimes you have to deal with that kind of shit. So, the band recorded a demo in 2000 which featured Eric Sanner on vocals. Sanner left the band for professional reasons after just a couple of months. It's not uncommon. It's good to see, though, a band that just keeps going regardless of a band member leaving. Sometimes it just can't happen, though. Like, it's just how it works. So after recording a 4-song demo and a 7-inch picture disc are really rad. I want to get one, but they're fucking expensive, and I don't want to play them because I want to wreck them. So they released this picture disc and this album through Reptilian Records. Mastodon landed a record deal with Relapse Records in 2001. Mastodon released the EP Life's Blood in 2001 and his first full-length album, Remission, in 2002. With the singles March of the Fire Ants. That's the one I was looking at the album cover. I think it was the horse and shooting up the side. It's nuts. And Crusher / Destroyer, which was also featured on Tony Hawk's Underground. I don't remember. Maybe that's where I heard them? I don't know. I heard a lot of weird music coming from video games, which is pretty rad. That's why I think video games and music go hand in hand very well, because you could have some, a gamer and they're playing, like, whoa, what the fuck's that song? And then boom, they're into a whole new genre of music. You never know, right? On each of Mastodon's first 3 full-length albums, the last track was an instrumental composition with a title that related to the Elephant Man. The band's 2002 debut album, Remission, garnered significant critical acclaim for its unique sound. I've talked previously about my homie Ben, which I'm actually this Friday coming. So you guys get this on Tuesday. That Friday, I am going to Vancouver to watch him get married. He found a really solid wife, and she's a great chick, great woman, and they're perfect together. It's going to be, I think, one of those marriages that lasts forever. So I'm going to that wedding. I'm totally stoked for him. Good for him. Congrats, Ben. Congrats, Lisa. Hope you guys last forever. The reason why I was saying that is he played, I talked about their band before, Hidden Towers. I always felt like there was like weird aspects of Mastodon in their stuff from Ben when he'd sing. Sounds a lot like that. And Chris's guitar style is very riffy like Mastodon's is, and very those really cool melodic riffs. So that could be why I like them so much too. 2004, the band's second full-length album, Leviathan, was released in 2004. It is a concept album loosely based on Herman Melvin's novel Moby Dick. It's cool, like when I was doing the research on these guys, and like I watched a lot of videos on them like previous to this. They're really cool dudes. So to hear how these albums, what they're about, where the concepts come from, is totally fucking rad and bonkers at the same time. And after that, like looking at the album covers, it totally makes sense. Yeah, so on that year in the release, they got Album of the Year by Kerrang and Terrorizer, so that's fucking totally rad. Blood and Thunder, which featured Clutch vocalist Neil Fallon, was chosen as one of the most important records of the decade by the National Public Radio in November 2009. And the entire album epitomizes a phenomenal decade for metal, is exactly what they said about it. It's a great album. There's these like, you get these like these points in time in music where these like bands will cut through you so hard, it changes the course a little bit. Now, I'm not saying they take it over and it revolutionizes, but it's that bump in the road that makes you go a little bit more left or a little bit more right. It changes the course that much that it takes it to where it's got to go naturally, or takes it to a new place naturally. And it's really fucking awesome to see that kind of shit, because you have to have change. And it's funny I say that too, because I touch on that. They touch on that too a little bit later. It's really fucking cool. The album was also ranked second in a list by Metal Hammer, the best album of 2004. The band went on to tour to support the album, playing throughout North America and Europe with, this is really rad, the Unholy Alliance tour, along with Slayer and Lamb of God, and then later on with Slipknot. They're coming here, and they fucking sold out. Sold out real fast. I'm not surprised, because they're playing at a really intimate venue with super great sound. I was pissed. Like, I tried and tried and tried. I was pissed. I'm gonna try and win tickets. Hopefully I can win some tickets, but it's not looking very fucking good, so we'll see how that goes. Iron Tusk, the 5th track on the album, can be found on the soundtrack for skateboarder video game Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, and 2K sports videos games NHL 2K9. I remember, it's funny, it's bringing up memories now, because I remember like playing video games, and it shows you the track. Like, it'll change. Like I used to say on Grand Theft Auto and a bunch of other games. But the track name would change, and these names would flash across. And now I remember seeing Mastodon. Sometimes it just triggers, and you remember. Thunder is featured in the video games Need for Speed Most Wanted, Gotham Project Racing 3, and Saints Row. Blood and Thunder was added as a playable track on all instruments in Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero. I talked about it not too long ago. I fucking love that game. It was a great game. It really was. I think what I really liked about it was like I could like button mash and sing at the same time. I think that's what really got me on it. And there was at first when I started playing it, it really sucked because it's not the same. It's not like playing guitar whatsoever. You're button mashing and playing it. It's ridiculous. All instruments in Guitar Hero Metallica. That's where you could get the track. And was featured in the Japanese music game Drummer Mania V2. That's that one, I believe. That's stuff in the arcades. It's the one with the big drums, and it has a whole bunch of drums, and you can hit it. Or it's the actual, like, it's an electric drum kit. And Guitar Freaks V2 also has been released as a downloadable content for Rock Band 3. A lot of musicians don't like Guitar Hero and rock band stuff like that. I kind of get it, but I don't. I don't know. For me, if it's fun, I'll do it. It's the same thing with music. If I like it, I fucking listen to it and give a shit what it is. It's just, if I like it, I like it. So, Call of Mastodon, a remastered collection of the band's first 9 songs and a DVD of interviews and concert footage called The Workhorse Chronicles that includes materials from the band's early years as a 5-piece. So they took that and they re-released it as a remaster. Remasters are cool. They can go one or two ways, remasters, I find. They can be really good or real fucking shitty. And I really think it comes down to who is mixing and mastering it again. Like, for instance, the 2 major ones I can think of is like Lamb of God's first album, where they remastered it. And it's I don't know, it's missing some stuff. I feel like it could have been, had a little bit more balls to it, a little more beef to it, I think. And some of the Metallica stuff too, that they're remastering. Sure, it was quiet, but I feel like they didn't bring enough beef to the table. Like, it's there, but you needed a little bit more. It was just a little bit more. So that's like if you go on YouTube, someone has actually put they have fixed the drums on Saint Anger, so there's actually a snare, and they've also fixed the missing bass from And Justice for All. And there's the remasters that they've done on YouTube, I find are like some like home remasters are better than the actual remasters that they let out. So, but that's just my opinion. I think that's how it sounds good, but who am I? I'm not Metallica, so I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I can't like, yo, James, that fucking remaster sucks. You're like, who the fuck are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm Ivan from High Fine Stage Dives. You might know me. And you're like, who the fuck are you, right? But that's just one man's opinion. That's all I can say. The band stated that the Call of Mastodon is their 3rd studio album, even though the album is a compilation album. I think it's pretty cool when you can get behind that and say that. I get it's a compilation, but it's still technically an album. I mean, he didn't write it, but I don't know. It's a weird thought that I just had now. It's technically an album, even though it is a compilation album. I mean, even if they only did put 1 song on there, you still got enough songs for an album. So I guess it's an album. If they consider it an album, we'll go with that. It's an album. You're not gonna fight the artist. I mean, you could, but that would just be that's stupid. These 2 releases were the band's last for Relapse Records, as they would later go and sign with Warner Brothers. 30 Warner Brothers. I wonder if I'd like to see the ins and outs of these giant record labels now, considering that you can do all this at home like I'm doing right now. For me to do what I'm doing now, I would either have to be like a DJ and, have a local radio station where I could use all the equipment to do it, or be really rich, or go to a recording studio and pay for it. So it's really crazy that I have all the gear to do it, which is totally awesome, and I don't have to pay anybody to do it. I mean, I paid for it, but I don't have to pay anybody to do it. I might actually be doing a little thing on the side also. Since I've been doing this for so long that I've become very, very comfortable in what I'm doing, and I feel like I can do it for other people. So I might start a little side business recording podcasts for people, and maybe some acoustic instruments. I don't know. Don't want to do full bands. It's a whole other bag of tricks that I don't want to get into. So keep it simple, and maybe help pay off some of the gear that I spend a lot of money on. So Mastodon's 3rd studio album, Blood Mountain, was released on September 12, 2006, followed by a tour supporting the album along with Tool in Europe and Slayer in Australia and New Zealand. The Mars Volta frontman Cedric Bixler Zavala lent his vocals on the track Siberian Dive. Queens of the Stone Age frontman Mr. Josh Homme contributed to vocals on the song Colony of Birchmen. The band performed the song Colony of Birchmen on NBC's Late Night with Conan O'Brien on November 1st. Their first appearance on a network television to a viewing audience around 2.4 million people. That is nuts. Like when you do a show, like these guys are doing like 20,000 people, knowing that 2.4 million people are watching, that's nuts. The only thing I could see being different is that they're not there. It'd be different if you saw 2.4 million people all staring at you and yelling. That'd just be bonkers to begin with, right? It's not there. I don't know. I found bigger the crowd, it wasn't so scarier. It's when there's less people for some reason. I get because it's more intimate, right? So more people, not so crazy. Less people, a little bit more crazy because it's super intimate. And it's like it's there. Like you can hear the talking of the people in the back talking. Like I notice that too. Like when I do a show, if it was like a quiet part in the song, sometimes you can hear loud people talking, and it's really it can throw you for a loop. If you're not ready for it, it can definitely throw you off a little bit, and you're really gonna be on your toes sometimes about it. So I got really used to it eventually, but that's just how that is. So the band's first single off Blood Mountain, Capillary and Crest, was ranked number 27 in the Rolling Stones magazine's top 100 songs of 2006. The album itself was ranked 9th in the magazine's best album of the year charts. UK Metal Hammer voted it the best album of 2006 in the end of the year's critics poll. And the album was voted in at number 5 by Kerrang in the year-end list, number 6 on Pop Matter's best album of 2006, and number 1 on the best metal album 2006 from About.com, and they rated it the top metal album of 2006. When you become popular and you start becoming a rock star, you start getting into things like this. This is how it is. Blood Mountain was also named the best album of 2006 in the 10th anniversary birthday edition, issue 119 of Bizarre. And it came in at number 2 on Revolver magazine's list of top albums of 2006. This is really cool. They also recorded a cover version of Metallica's Orion for a 2006 Kerrang tribute album, marking the 20th anniversary of the release. They do covers of other stuff too, and I haven't heard this cover. I gotta go check it out. Or I want to say I didn't, but I think I did. But I listen to a lot of Metallica stuff, and I check out, like, if I see anything like any kind of Metallica covers on piano and stuff like that, I end up watching. I end up going down a fucking rabbit hole of Metallica music and covers. It's really cool. I like what people do when they change things up for them, like what they think their rendition of it is and how it comes out. I plan on I'm making like a collaboration, a list of acoustic songs that I'd like to learn, and I don't know, maybe record one day, but we'll see. But like I like doing them like heavier songs and change them up maybe a little bit. Not heavier songs, but a song that is not intended to be acoustic, and I played acoustic. There's lots of it obviously on YouTube, but I'm not doing like songs that you would hear every day basically. So yeah, I might quit playing music, but I'll never quit playing music. Mastodon joined Against Me and Cursive for the North American tour, with Planes Mistaken for Stars opening for the leg, and These Arms Are Snakes for the other. Planes Mistaken for Stars. I found them. I talked about them before. I found them through my homie Tony. Great band. Love that band. They do some really cool shit too. So this is crazy. A performance in Milwaukee had to be canceled due to an illness on part of Brett Hines. That's all it was. That's all it said. I don't know what was wrong. Maybe he just had a cold. Maybe he had a throat infection. I don't know. He is crazy, but like when he's on stage, he's a monster. So like if he was sick, that means he was fucking sick. Mastodon would play the Hove Festival in Norway, as well as the main stage of Download Festival and the Pitchfork Music Festival during the time the band opened for Metallica on the Sick of Studio tour. That's funny. That's a great name because Lars is he hates playing the same shit over and over again. He loses his fucking mind. It's great. You should watch some videos on it. So they went on tour. In 2007, they did Dubai Desert Rock. 2008, they did the Bonnaroo Music Festival, the inaugural Mayhem Festival, and then Mastodon then toured with Slayer, Trivium, Lamb of God, and several other metal bands in 2008 for the Unholy Alliance Tour in 2008. That'd be a great line. I've seen Slayer. Kind of meh, but Trivium, Lamb of God, and Mastodon would be fucking great. I say Slayer's meh. That's just because they were really old. Tom Araya looked like a Sasquatch because he's real big and hairy. So I don't know. It's not. I don't know. They went weird or some shit. I don't know what the deal was, but yeah, it wasn't. The band. So, anyways, after they toured and all this good stuff, the band performed Colony of Birchmen at the 2007 MTV Video Music Awards live with Josh Homme after the television performance. Brent Hines was reported to have sustained a severe head injury. Okay, so this is from blabbermouth.net. Initially reported that it was the result of a brutal assault, but the police report later suggests that an inebriated Hines, so he was drunk, had started a fight with System of a Down's bassist Shavo, I'm not even going to try saying his last name, and vocalist William Hudson, also known as Reverend William Burke of Axon. Anyways, apparently got his ass handed to him. Or he handed ass to them. I don't know. It's not clear. The song Colony of Birchmen from the band's third album released in 2006, Blood Mountain, was nominated for a Grammy Best Metal Performance in 2007. Took a year, but that would make sense because, you know, it comes out at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year, and then they gotta wait a year, so you know how that shit goes. Okay. The band members are fans of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, so in 2007 Mastodon performed the opening song for Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the movie, for theaters. Cut You Up with a linoleum knife. So that's rad. The perks of being a rock star, the little things that you like in life, you can partake in intimately, which is, it's pretty rad. That's one thing I think would be great about being famous is, stupid things like that, being invited to be, because of who you are, being invited to be a part of something that you are a fanboy of. And I think that'd be awesome. So, Crack the Sky was released on March 24th, 2009 as a normal version and a deluxe version, which included all songs in instrumental versions as well as their normal versions, and entered the Billboard 200 at number 11 a week later. I think it's pretty cool when a band does that. They release an instrumental version of it. I know Nine Inch Nails, like Trent Reznor released Halo, was it album Halo? I can't remember, but he released every single individual track and said, hey, do what you want with this, make new mixes and stuff like that. I think what's cool too about that is, like, if you were like a super huge Mastodon fan, you could karaoke to that shit in your car maybe. Like, I don't know. I know I've done that. I've used instrumental tracks from bands for vocal warm-ups or practicing a song that we might be covering. So something like that's really rad. I think it's pretty cool when bands do that. In a Music Radar interview, guitarist Bill confirmed the album is about, this is crazy, this is where it gets really awesomely weird, confirmed that the album is about an out-of-body experience and looks at the concepts of astral travel, wormholes, Stephen Hawking's theories, and the spiritual realm. That's pretty neat, right? Here it gets even crazier. The album follows a quadriplegic who learns to astral projection. On his journey, he flies too close to the sun, burns his umbilical cord which connects him to his body, and flies into oblivion. That sounds freaky. It sounds like a bad acid trip, and I don't want to deal with that. But it's cool, so right? At the same time, in Tsarist Russia, I think it is. Yeah, Tsarist Russia, Rasputin and his cult were channeling spirits and brought the quadriplegic to their time. He explains his situation and foretells the assassination of Rasputin. Inevitably, Rasputin is assassinated, and Rasputin guides him back to his body. That's a motherfucking trip. Do you understand what I'm saying about these album covers making sense now? Like, that is bonkers. Love it though. Like, this is great. This is amazing. It's art with a nice sprinkle of music. Like, they debuted 3 tracks at Bonnaroo Music Festival, but did not play any more live shows before the album was released due to fear of internet distribution, and they wanted it to sound right. So they wanted to have it down because they're not just a band to go out there and fucking gonna play their songs. They have to do it right, which is absolutely awesome. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So in order to support the new album, Mastodon toured with Metallica on a later part of the 2009 Europe leg of the World Magnetic Tour. Did I go to that? Did I go to Magnetic? I want to say I did. I can't remember now. In fall, no, I didn't. Never mind, I didn't. In fall of 2009, they embarked with Death Clock on the Adult Swim Presents tour, along with Converge and High on Fire. I could have seen them. Now I remember why I could have seen Mastodon. The Death Clock came through, and I really wanted to see Death Clock. I should have went them. I love that cartoon. I think it's just great. It's so bonkers. It's great. A lot like Rick and Morty. So out there, it's amazing. On October 29, 2009, they performed Divination on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon, funny, has a lot of crazy bands. I think he likes that crazy music, so he has a lot of crazy bands on his show all the time. On November 4th, 2009, Mastodon released their second EP entitled Oblivion. Teaming up, this is amazing, teaming up with bands Deftones and Alice in Chains, Mastodon went on tour in September 2010 in the United States and Canada. Okay, Alice in Chains, Deftones, and Mastodon, that's like makes my pants tight in the front and hurts a little bit. Just saying. The tour was called Black Diamond Sky, a promptu of the 3 bands' last albums, Black Gives Way to Blue, Diamond Eyes, and Crack the Sky. That's sneaky deaky is what that is. Love it though. Very smart. Love it. Love it. So here's another like rock star famous fanboy shit right here. This is great. I like this. Film director Jimmy Hayward contacted the band during their 2009 tour in Europe and expressed how much he listened to them, the Blood Mountain album, and how it helped him creatively in his whole processes of everything and finishing a screenplay, and he offered Mastodon a chance to score the film that he had been working on, and it was Jonah Hex, which is totally like there's that fanboy thing again, right? It has its benefits. I don't know, like the touring I think would get to me. That might kill me a little bit, all the work that's involved with it. So in an interview with Paste Magazine bassist Troy Sanders said that Hayward called us out of the blue as a fan. It was the most beautiful, authentic way to collaborate. I got nothing to follow up with that. Just take that for what it is, because that's nice right there. That's a little bit of love right there. That's what I'm saying. The instrumental soundtrack, Jonah Hex Revenge Gets Ugly EP, was released on June 29, 2010 through Reprise Records. In 2010, the band was confirmed as being part of the soundtrack of Namco's Bandai Games 2010 remake of Splatterhouse. The game's protagonist can also be seen wearing a Mastodon t-shirt in a certain flashback cutscene. Splatterhouse. I used to play the shit out of this game. It was just a side-scrolling dude wearing a Jason mask with a machete, and he was all jacked up, like muscly, and he just slashed and killed everything. It was great. One of the funnest games that I've played. Let's get to the feature song. The feature song that I chose is going to be called High Road. I picked it because it felt right for whatever reason. Just felt right, felt nice. And I really groove on the song too, so that's one of the main reasons I picked it. So let's sit back, enjoy, turn it up, listen to some High Road. She's a banger, that's for sure. She's got some good groove. That's mainly the reason why I picked it. It's got groove. You can't go wrong with listening to good groove, you know what I'm saying? Here we go, High Road, enjoy. So, how did you guys like that heaviness? That's like the beef. I love heavy, beefy music. So got a few more albums, a tour, a crazy tour, and that's about it. Oh, and I got a wicked quote from bassist Troy Sanders, and I'll talk about their little video thing that they had. So the Hunter debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200 charts and achieved major commercial success in the U.S. The Hunter features songs Curl of the Burl, great fucking song, which nominated for a Grammy for Best Hard Rock / Metal Performance in 2012. The first hints of the album were given by the band via Facebook on January 11th. Drummer Bran revealed during an interview the title of the band's new album describes the new material as not so much proggy as more riff-oriented and a little more stripped down, which would make sense. They want to keep it different. They are a very, very technical band, so I get it. You're gonna get bored quick, and you want to change some stuff around, right? So, meanwhile, the band performed in many major summer festivals. On June 28th, 2011, Mastodon released through AdultSwim.com a leftover track from Crack the Sky session called Deathbound. On September 16th, the band released a 53-minute custom visualizer with all the album tracks 11 days prior to the release of The Hunter. In support of the album, a North American headline tour was announced. What I like about this band, too, is like they do a lot of different things that normally people wouldn't do, I guess you could say. Like a visualizer and stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's bands out there that do this stuff, just there isn't very many that do. They're thinking outside the box, and they're keeping you engaged, and it's probably part of their artistic ways of doing stuff, right? Like, get antsy, you want to do stuff. The album was very well received by fans and the media. It also performed strongly on the official charts, rising to number 10 on the Billboard 200s on October 5th, 2011. They performed Curl of the Burl on The Late Show with Mr. David Letterman. So, remember the epic tour I just earlier mentioned? A UK tour was announced on October 12th through February 2012 with following bands: The Dillinger Escape Plan, Red Fang as supporting acts. They later joined Jules Holland, where they performed Black Tongue and Curl of the Burl. A 17-date European tour was announced that featured dates in Scandinavia, Germany, France, Spain, Belgium, Portugal, Italy, and the Netherlands, and Latvia. Just kicking ass, taking names. The record was named Album of the Year by Metal Hammer Classic Rock and Rock Sound in January 2012. It was announced that Mastodon and Swedish prog metal band Opeth will tour together in a joint tour across North America. It was named the Heritage Hunter Tour. This is cool again. After both bands' latest release, The Hunter and Heritage. Both bands took turns headlining the shows. One night it'd be Opeth, the other night it would be Mastodon. On February 11, 2012, the band performed a sold-out show at Brixton Academy in London. That is a crazy place to sell out. When you sell at Brixton Academy, you're doing something hell right. It was their first fully sold-out crazy show that they did. So April 21st, 2012, to commemorate Record Store Day, Mastodon released two separate vinyls. The first is a split 7-inch titled Feistodon, and Mastodon will cover Feist's Combination, and Feist will cover Mastodon's Black Tongue. The pair released it's so cool. It's like two totally different people. Two Feist, Mastodon, right? The pair released a one-of-a-kind interactive cross-fading music video for all the songs. The second release was a cover of The Flaming Lips, A Spoonful Weighs a Ton. Flaming Lips, that's a weird band. I never really checked them out. Like, I know who they are, and I never really checked them out. The album, Once More Around the Sun, featuring High Road. What? Great song. We just listened to it. So, Once More Around the Sun, Mastodon's 2014 album, peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200 charts and featured the band's third Grammy-nominated song, High Road. Mastodon began recording again early in 2013. Guitarist Brett Hines described the new music as really eerie and very spooky sounding, and stated that he has written 3 new songs. December 3rd, 2012, the band announced via their Twitter page that they were writing a song for the film Monster Universe, but all they ended up doing was using the song Island that was already out. So they were also a part of the 2013 Rockstar Energy Mayhem Festival on May 6, 2013. The band stated that they are very busy writing and putting together songs for the next studio album. In an interview with Troy Sanders in Paste magazine released on April 3rd, he revealed the album was called Once More Around the Sun and had 15 tracks. He also confirmed that this is cool. This is nutty. Had confirmed that Mastodon recorded 90 minutes of material, but only used 60 of it being presented on the album, and unreleased material would possibly be released as an EP later on in 2014. That's awesome when a band does that, and when they get super creative or they're on a roll, and they write a whole bunch of music and they just go off and they keep it all and then they release those little extra tidbits later. Love that shit. Gotta love it when a band does that. Because you get like, oh yeah, this is awesome, I could use more, and then boom, you get more. The entire album was streaming on iTunes June 16, 2014. And the album was released June 24th, 2014 through Reprise Records. The album sold around 34,000 copies in the United States in its first week of release to land the position of number 6 on the Billboard 200 charts, making it the band's first consecutive top 10 debut, with their previous albums, The Hunter peaking at number 10 after opening with 39,000 copies in 2011. So their latest album, great motherfucking album too. The band's 7th album, Emperor of the Sand. This is the one that really they solidified for me what they were about, and I think it was a lot to do with the vocals. The music was always there for me, but the vocals is what really nailed it for me, and the making of video, which I'll get into. Totally awesome. Really humanized Mastodon for myself. The band's 7th album, Emperor of the Sand, was released on March 31st, 2017, and features the band's most commercially successful song to date, Show Yourself, which peaked at number 4 in the U.S. Billboard mainstream rock song charts in June 2017. Follow-up single, Stream Breather, peaked at number 18 on the same charts in October 2017. The album's opening track, Sultan's Curse, amazing song, earned the band's first Grammy Award. Emperor of Sand was the band's first album to receive a Grammy nomination. It was nominated for Best Rock Album. On January 18, 2015, it was reported that Brett Hines is working on a new Mastodon album showing pictures of him playing with a 13-string pedal steel. That's a crazy thing too. The same report was later confirmed by Troy Sanders, who stated, every record that we do is going to sound different because we always want to evolve and create our own music path, and every record will be different. We do not want to write the same record twice. That right there, folks, that's an artist. Those are artists. That's what keeps Mastodon moving forward and evolving, which is amazing. Remember I talked about Game of Thrones? On March 12, 2015, Mastodon released a new track called White Walker, which will appear on the upcoming Game of Thrones Catch the Throne Volume Mix 2 mixtape, promote the 5th season. Daler, Hines, and Keller also appeared in Episode 8 on the season of Wildlings. And then Hines and Keller once again returned to Game of Thrones as White Walkers on the season 7 finale episode, which is cool. He stood up. I saw him like instantly. I'm like, what the? He sticks out like a sore thumb. It was great. Brett Hines. It was great. The band's 7th album, Emperor of the Sand, was released March 31st, 2017. The theme of the album, this is nuts, okay, this touches really close to home for me. The band's 7th album, studio album, Emperor of Sands, was released, like I said, March 31st, 2017. The theme of the album was cancer, inspired by Troy's wife, who was diagnosed with cancer, and Bill's mother, who lost her life to cancer. It details the story of a traveler banished to the desert by an emperor, in effect giving him a death sentence. The story is a metaphor for someone's diagnosis with terminal cancer. Yeah, I'll get to that after. I'm going to wrap this all up, this album here, and pretty much the end of it. So, Brent Hines stated that the inspiration behind some of the songs recorded for A Cold Dark Place, which he wrote, were inspired by a nasty breakup that he had endured. Hines described it as, I wrote some pretty dark, beautiful, spooky, funky, ethereal, melancholy music, which also sounded like the Bee Gees a little bit. This is where it gets really. This part is the part that humanized Mastodon for me, and really it shows inside what Mastodon really is. You can tell that it's them. You can tell it's genuine and real. The band released a revised version of the 12-part making of the Emperor of Sands documentary via their official YouTube channel. I highly recommend you watch it. It's great, and it's super candid, like in a big bad way. And there's some funny parts that really cement why I like the band. That's what I was saying, like the cancer thing. They talk about it, and you could see when they talk about the cancer situations, it just fucking... They're broken. You can tell they're broken. It makes them human. You see that these people are human in a big bad way, which is totally amazing. Also, you see the flip side of it all, that they actually like to have fun and they joke around, and then it shows a little bit of seriousness on how they are as musicians. I highly suggest you guys go on YouTube and watch this video if you haven't seen it already. I watched it the whole time before this album came out, and it really it solidified everything for me. So it shows a lot of stuff like recording in the studio and stuff like that. And it was really cool. So I'm going to wrap this up with a quote about them. It's a pretty long quote from Mr. Troy Sanders, the bassist. He's a funny fucker too. He stated about their musical style. There we go. We do not consider ourselves a metal band. We recognize there's a lot of metal in us, but we always want to believe we have a lot of rock and roll in us. And we have a lot of progressive rock in us. We have habits and pieces of thrash and punk and psychedelicness sprinkled throughout. A lot of the time, for me personally, just having a metal tag itself seems kind of limiting on us because we have such an aspiration of all styles of music, and we like to incorporate bits and pieces of those into our songs. But we also recognize all the different subgenres and the millions of times people say, "Oh, what do you sound like?" And then they say something. I understand that, but it doesn't affect how we create anything at all. That whole thing right there, that is why I like Mastodon. That quote sums up the whole thing of Mastodon for me. I like it's sprinkled throughout, like psychedelics, the prog rock, but they want to be rock and roll, but they like the metal, so they mix it all together. They have that metalness to it, but they also have that rock and roll, and they have the groove, and they have the thrash, and they have the punk. And that's why I like Mastodon. That's why I love Mastodon. They're great fucking band. And after watching, like I said, that video on YouTube, the making of that video, the album, I highly suggest you guys go watch it. So that, folks, was High Pine Stage Dives. That was Mastodon. Thank you for coming with me on this journey. I just want to say once again, like I always do, if you need help with anything, ask or say something, please. It's out there. I recently lost a friend. He was only 34 years old. He was a great guy. Greg, rest in peace, brother. Greg Janis. He was a different type of person, and he's gone now. We still don't know what happened yet, but it's going to come out. But rest in peace, Greg. You can chill out finally, man. So yeah, like I said, if you ever need help, you guys, just say something. Go to stagedive.ca. Send me a fucking email. There's no excuse now. You know how to get a hold of me. That was another episode of Hi-Fi and Stage Dives. Like always, your host, Ivan. Keep listening to music, people, because it makes life that much better, and I will catch you on the flip side. Thank you again for listening to Hi-Fi and Stage Dives. It means the world to me. I'm glad you could come on this journey with me, and we'll keep doing it every week. Subscribe, rate and review, all that good stuff, and keep listening to music, because it only makes life better, and we'll see you on the flip side. Stay rad.